The story of the Good Samaritan, a parable recounted in the Gospel of Luke in the New Testament, serves as a foundational narrative for understanding the practice of compassion and kindness, transcending cultural and social boundaries. The parable tells of a man who is attacked by robbers and left for dead on a road. Several people pass by without helping, including a priest and a Levite, figures expected to offer assistance due to their social roles. Contrary to expectations, a Samaritan, someone from a group historically despised by Jews of that time, stops and renders aid. This Samaritan provides care, transports the injured man to an inn, and pays for his recovery. The story advances the radical idea that compassion should not be bound by ethnic, social, or religious affiliations, and it challenges societal norms about who is worthy of kindness. The significance of understanding this parable in the context of the main topic, the Good Samaritan, quiet acts of compassion and kindness, lies in its timeless message. True compassion manifests in actions, often quietly and without expectation of reward. The story encourages individuals to transcend self-imposed barriers and to view everyone as their neighbor, a concept that is critical in fostering a more empathetic and inclusive society. In the real world, the principles of the Good Samaritan are observed in numerous acts of altruism. Consider the case of volunteers at food banks who work tirelessly to ensure that those in need have meals, often doing so without recognition or accolades. Similarly, a passing motorist stopping to help a stranded driver can be seen as modern embodiments of the Good Samaritan spirit. However, this concept is not without challenges. In some cases, people may hesitate to offer help due to fear of legal repercussions, sometimes referred to as the bystander effect, or the assumption that someone else will assist. Alternatively, individuals may interpret the story in varied ways, with some viewing the actions of the Good Samaritan as a call for systemic change rather than isolated acts of kindness. Opinions supporting the universality of this parable emphasize that compassion as a core human value can lead to greater social cohesion and a heightened sense of community. This understanding influences other aspects of the main topic by shaping societal perceptions of heroism, which often prioritizes quiet, everyday acts of kindness over grand gestures. In this way, the story of the Good Samaritan not only informs our understanding of compassion, but also actively promotes it as a vital, transformative force in our daily lives. The story of the Good Samaritan, embedded in the Gospel of Luke in the New Testament, portrays a simple yet profound narrative that challenges societal norms by illustrating the essence of compassion across cultural divides. At its core, the parable describes a Samaritan who, unlike the priest and Levite, chooses to help a wounded stranger, a Jew, showing mercy not limited by ethnic and historical animosities. The Samaritans and Jews share deep-rooted hostilities due to religious and cultural differences, making the Samaritan's act revolutionary for its time. Understanding this parable's historical and cultural context enhances its importance as it transcends the mere act of aid into a powerful statement on kindness that defies prejudice. The narrative not only emphasizes empathy and selflessness, but also critiques perceived holiness, void of compassion. It is not merely a story of humanity, but also a call to action, urging us to reconsider personal biases and embrace kindness without boundaries. In contemporary settings, the spirit of the Good Samaritan can be seen in the lives of cultural heroes, such as figures like Mother Teresa, who devoted her life to aiding those considered outcasts in society. Similarly, countless volunteers in organizations like the Red Cross who cross national and cultural lines to provide aid during global emergencies exemplify the Samaritan ethos. These actions illustrate that compassion is often quiet but immensely impactful. The story has garnered widespread support, not only in religious but also in secular circles, as a model for ethical behavior. The Dalai Lama, for example, speaks of universal responsibility and the necessity of practicing compassion without regard to differences, a sentiment that echoes the Good Samaritan's actions. Challenges to this interpretation include the tendency to politicize compassion, questioning the motivations behind acts of kindness. Critics argue that such acts can sometimes serve as social or political leverage rather than genuine empathy. Additionally, the parable's presentation of the other religious figures who ignored the victim can be controversial, as it seemingly critiques religious orthodoxy and routine over moral duty. Despite potential controversies, the historical and cultural context of the Good Samaritan parable connects directly to the broader theme of quiet acts of compassion and kindness by underscoring the universal need for empathy and solidarity. It influences our understanding of kindness as a timeless, cross-cultural necessity that bridges divides, urging humanity towards a more inclusive and empathetic coexistence. The philosophy of compassion and kindness underpins the enduring narrative of the Good Samaritan, highlighting the profound impact of selfless actions in human interaction. At its core, compassion is the empathetic awareness of others' distress combined with a desire to alleviate it, whereas kindness refers to actions taken to support and uplift others without expecting anything in return. This philosophical stance is significant in the context of the Good Samaritan because it forms the foundation for understanding why the Samaritan's actions were revolutionary. In a world often divided by social, racial, and religious boundaries, the act of helping a stranger in need transcends these divides, illustrating the universal power of kindness and empathy. The importance of this philosophy in relation to the Good Samaritan lies in its ability to inspire quiet acts of compassion that ripple through society, fostering a culture of empathy and understanding. One real-world application of this concept can be seen in community service initiatives where individuals volunteer time to aid those in need, such as organizing food drives or providing shelter for the homeless. These acts, though quiet and often unnoticed on a grand scale, create a tangible impact on those who benefit from them. Another example can be observed in workplaces that promote a culture of kindness, encouraging employees to support one another's mental health and well-being, leading to more cohesive and resilient teams. Philosophers and thought leaders like the Dalai Lama and Brené Brown have supported the philosophy of compassion and kindness, advocating for it as essential to achieving a harmonious and connected society. However, challenges to this philosophy arise in a world that often values individualism and competition over community and cooperation. Critics may argue that focusing too heavily on compassion can lead to burnout, or that it might be viewed as a sign of weakness in environments that prioritize strength and self-reliance. Despite these challenges, the philosophy of compassion and kindness directly influences other aspects of the Good Samaritan narrative, such as the moral obligation to help others and the rejection of prejudice. By embracing this philosophy, individuals not only embody the virtues of the Samaritan, but also pave the way for a more compassionate world. The influence of this philosophy extends beyond individual interactions, fostering systemic change that aligns communities with values of empathy and mutual support. Thus, the philosophy of compassion and kindness is integral to understanding the true essence of the Good Samaritan, emphasizing that even the quietest acts of empathy can have far-reaching consequences. When we talk about the psychological and social benefits of altruism, we're referring to the positive effects that acts of selflessness and compassion have on both the giver and the receiver. Altruism can be described as the selfless concern for the well-being of others, often manifesting in acts of kindness or support without any expectation of personal gain. This concept is intrinsically linked to the story of the Good Samaritan, illustrating how quiet acts of compassion and kindness can bring about profound benefits not only to individuals but society as a whole. The significance of this point is deeply rooted in understanding how altruistic behavior can enhance personal well-being and social cohesion. From a psychological perspective, engaging in altruistic acts can boost mental health by increasing levels of happiness and decreasing stress. This occurs through the release of endorphins, often termed the helper's high. Socially, altruism can strengthen community bonds and foster an environment of mutual support, creating a more empathetic and cohesive society. Consider, for example, a scenario where a person regularly volunteers at a local food bank. This consistent contribution not only aids those in need, but also provides the volunteer with a sense of purpose and satisfaction. Another example can be found in workplace environments where employees practice altruism by mentoring new colleagues, which creates a supportive and collaborative work culture, ultimately benefiting the organization as a whole. Supporters of altruism highlight its transformative power, suggesting that selflessness can lead to a ripple effect, where one act of kindness inspires others, contributing to a cycle of goodwill. For instance, social psychologists often argue that altruism can lead to increased trust and cooperation, essential components in effective communities. However, altruism is not without its challenges or controversies. Some skeptics may question whether true altruism exists, as even selfless acts can potentially provide the giver with intangible rewards like personal satisfaction or social recognition. Others may point out the risk of altruism leading to burnout if individuals consistently neglect their own needs. Despite these challenges, the benefits of altruism fundamentally connect to the broader theme of the Good Samaritan. Acts of compassion and kindness not only embody the essence of altruism, but also reinforce the narrative that such behaviors can transform individuals and communities. Overall, understanding and embracing altruism's psychological and social benefits can encourage more compassionate acts, fostering a world where kindness becomes the norm rather than the exception.